So look at Anthony Ryder from South Lyon, Michigan, recently selected as the Lions 2020 Fan of the Year. He has a passion about sports broadcasting.
With the 112th selection in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver, USC. One pride, baby! Yeah!
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Detroit Lions video. Now, the Detroit Lions finished night 2 of the NFL Draft incredibly strongly, addressing the biggest position of need on the roster with one of the best players at his position. Kerby Joseph, the 6'1", 203-pound safety from Illinois, was the 97th overall selection in the 2022 NFL Draft and became the Detroit Lions' third-round pick. Now, the Detroit Lions waited to address safety until late on night 2 and waited until their 4th pick in the NFL Draft to do so. But in the drafting of Kerby Joseph, I believe the Detroit Lions got one of the best, if not the best, safety in the 2022 NFL Draft class. And today we're going to take a look at Kerby Joseph as a player, take a look at what he does well, take a look at how he's going to fit on this roster, and take a look at the impact that he may bring to the Detroit Lions. So with all of that being said, and with all that out of the way, let's get into taking a look at Kerby Joseph, the 97th overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. Now, as I mentioned, Kerby Joseph is a 6'1", 203-pound safety from the University of Illinois, putting up a really impressive combine performance with 18 reps on the bench press, 38.5 inch in the vertical jump, and 123 inches in the broad jump. Kerby Joseph is one of the more explosive athletes and one of the more explosive safeties in this year's draft. And although he did not run a 40 or a 3 cone, he did do positional drills and looked really fluid, moved really well, changed directions incredibly smoothly, and had some of the best ball skills of any safety at the combine, and has some of the best ball skills of any player in the 2022 NFL Draft. He had fluid hips, he had really good range, he showed his top tier ball skills, and overall, even though he didn't run a super impressive 40, which is the big ticket seller for a lot of football teams and for a lot of fans, he showed that throughout the season he had the range to cover. So I'm not really worried about the speed or the agility because I saw that stuff on the tape. But knowing that he can put up 18 reps on the bench, knowing that he's explosive enough for a 38.5 inch vert and a 123 inch broad, that is a special kind of explosive. And to pair with that kind of explosiveness and athleticism, he is extremely long at the safety position. Although he only stands at 6'1" on the field, his wingspan measures in at 6'8". He has extremely long arms. He's very good at high pointing the football. And again, I'm going to put emphasis on the ball skills. He goes up and he tracks that ball out of the air. He high points the football like a wide receiver, and using that, that length in his arms, he is generally able to out jump and out muscle people to the football. And he is usually the first person to get his hands on the football. The length allows him to break up a lot of passes, and with his, estimated 4.4 to 4.5 speed, his range and length make him a really good safety and somebody that can develop into one of the top coverage safeties in the NFL. Now, looking back last season, Kerby Joseph was ranked as the 74th player on PFF's prospect board, meaning he was ranked as the 74th best player in the 2022 NFL Draft class, and the Detroit Lions got him at 97. On top of that, Kerby Joseph was also ranked as the #1 safety in college football a season ago with a 90.4 PFF grade by Pro Football Focus. He was graded as the #1 safety above Kyle Hamilton, above Lewis Cine, above Jaquan Brisker, above all the safeties that went above him, and above all the, I believe, 4 to 5 safeties, right above JT Woods, above Nick Cross, above Kyle Hamilton, above Nick Cine, Jaquan Brisker. Of all the safeties that went above him, Kerby Joseph graded higher last season than all of those players. In his junior season last season, Kerby Joseph totaled over 57 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 sack, 5 interceptions, 2 passes defended, and 2 fumble recoveries. And on his career, totaled 116 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 5 interceptions, 6 passes defended, 1 forced fumble, and 2 fumble recoveries. To put into consideration how impactful Kerby Joseph was to the Illinois defense a season ago, Illinois in the Big Ten, a team that I believe went 5-7 with not the greatest record in the world, but certainly not the worst record in the world, right? They were an average college football team that got a big upset over Penn State, and at the end of the day, played a couple of really good teams pretty close, but they weren't a special defense. They're not going to send a lot of NFL players to the NFL based off the defense that they had this season, and you can kind of see that with their turnovers. Illinois last season had 9 interceptions as a team and 6 fumble recoveries. They forced 17 turnovers as a defense. Kerby Joseph last season had 5 of those interceptions and 2 fumble recoveries, totaling for 7 of the 17 turnovers for the Illinois defense. That means Kerby Joseph totaled about 41% of the total turnovers for the Illinois defense a season ago. That's how impactful he was to the team. He was the rangy guy. He was the ball hawk. He was the guy that forced turnovers in the secondary, and that's the kind of player the Detroit Lions needed in their locker room. Outside of Amani Oruwariye, the Detroit Lions did not force a lot of turnovers through the air a season ago. Yes, Amani got 6, which really skewed the numbers his way, but other than that, Julian Okwara, I believe, got 1, and Tracy Walker got 1, and CJ Moore got 1. And I think that's it. I think the Lions only came away with 10 or 11 interceptions a season ago, and they didn't do that much better as far as forcing fumbles and recovering said fumbles. They didn't force the turnovers that top defenses needed to force. They were able to get off the field a lot, sure. They were able to hold their opponent under 20 points sometimes, sure, but they weren't able to capitalize off of missed mistakes. Tracy Walker missed at least 2 interceptions a season ago where he had his hands on the football and deserved an interception. He could have easily walked away with 3 a season ago, but he didn't. They just couldn't capitalize off the turnovers that they were given. And even when the ball gave them a lucky bounce, sometimes they weren't able to come away with the interception. Right? Big plays like that stick out versus Tracy Walker versus Cincinnati, where he jumped a really good route and had an interception possibility. Against Green Bay in week 2, he jumped a route really, really well and had a chance at an interception. Jalen Elliott against the Steelers off of a tip pass had 2 or 3 opportunities to bring in that interception and just couldn't do it. The ball skills have been a problem for the Lions safety over the past year or two, and Kerby Joseph is the guy that's going to bring those ball skills. He's going to bring in those interceptions. He's going to show you that range and that coverage ability. And as well as taking away deep routes down the field and being able to high point the ball, he's going to be able to help this team come away with some of those interceptions. And he may not catch 5, but he may catch 2 or 3 interceptions next season and just help give the Detroit Lions 3 extra possessions. Give the Lions offense 3 extra possessions where instead of giving up a field goal or instead of giving up extra time on the field, you give your offense better positioning with more time to go score, and you give them more opportunities to get on the field and put up points. That's where the Detroit Lions struggled the absolute most last season, was not being able to force those turnovers. And when they did, we saw a really good Lions team, right? When they forced turnovers versus the Green Bay Packers, they had a really good defensive performance. And even though they gave up over 30 points, they had 4 takeaways, which gave the Lions 4 extra possessions, which they scored on a majority of those possessions. Now, on top of the statistics that Kerby Joseph brings to the Detroit Lions, he also brings versatility to a defense that has a lot of moving pieces. Kerby Joseph a season ago played 440 snaps as a deep coverage safety for Illinois. He also played 164 snaps in the box as a box safety, played 7 snaps as a boundary cornerback, played 64 snaps as a slot cornerback, and played 41 snaps on the defensive line. Kerby Joseph is really good in man coverage, he's very good in zone coverage, and he is a very good blitzer. He is somebody that will put his body on the line to make a tackle. He is not afraid of contact. He is not afraid to tackle and put somebody on the ground. And he is not afraid to make a big hit and maybe be a little bit sore the next day because of the hit that he's going to lay. When the Detroit Lions play, the bruising backs, when the Detroit Lions play the power backs like Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb next season, when they play, the heavier hitters, when they play the big guys that just dish out punishment, they're going to need safeties that can tackle. And Kerby Joseph is somebody that can absolutely do that. He can be a versatile weapon in Aaron Glenn's defense. He can blitz off the edge. He can be, a box defender if you really want him to be. He can be a deep coverage safety. He can even play a safety role like Will Harris is planning to do this season, although I think Will Harris will play more safety than corner. It is still up for debate, and obviously he can play both as he did a season ago. But Kerby Joseph has played everything from deep fielding free safety to defensive line edge rusher to box safety to slot cornerback to boundary cornerback. I mean, he is just an extremely versatile safety, and I think his role is going to depend a lot on what they want to do with Deshaun Elliott and Tracy Walker, right? I think if you played Deshaun Elliott as more of a box safety, that allows you to play both Tracy Walker and Kerby Joseph as your two high safeties, giving you three safeties on the field, guys that can, cover fairly well in the terms of Deshaun Elliott and Tracy Walker, right? Guys that can cover but also tackle, guys that have range and speed but are not afraid to hit and are not afraid to tackle. And I think Kerby Joseph's versatility is going to allow the Detroit Lions and is going to allow Aaron Glenn to let is going to allow Tracy Walker to play in his preferred position. It's going to allow Deshaun Elliott to play in his prime position and get the most out of the free agent safety. It's going to allow the rest of our defenders to play a natural position and play to their strengths. And I think Kerby Joseph will play a lot this season. And I do think that Kerby Joseph will play a lot next season, regardless of if Deshaun Elliott gets injured or not. The Lions safety last season had a lot of snaps between the top three, with Will Harris having 1,012 snaps, Tracy Walker taking 882 snaps, and Dean Marlowe playing 700 snaps a season ago. They had three safeties on the field a lot. Dean Marlowe, for being the third safety on the roster, played a lot. And even Brady Breeze and CJ Moore and Jalen Elliott all played a role on the defense and played defensive snaps. So Kerby Joseph is certainly going to see time next season. Kerby Joseph, I would guess, gets probably 600 to 800 snaps next season, even if Deshaun Elliott doesn't get hurt. And if Deshaun Elliott does go down with injury again, which would be unfortunate, Kerby Joseph may see upwards of 1,000 snaps, right up there where Will Harris and Tracy Walker were a season ago. And I wouldn't be surprised if Kerby Joseph even takes the most snaps of any safety on the roster next season. I think he has a really good skill set. I think that he is a really hard worker. I think that his ball skills, his range, and his coverage ability deep are going to be the things that let him see the field early. And I think it's going to be the thing that allows the Detroit Lions safeties in Tracy Walker and Deshaun Elliott to truly thrive in their best roles, not being forced to play a deep coverage position if they aren't very good at it, right? They can both do it, but it's not their strength. That is Kerby Joseph's strength, and it completes what the Lions needed in the secondary with their safeties. The Lions are going into the 2022 season with Tracy Walker, Deshaun Elliott, Kerby Joseph, and Will Harris as their starting four safeties, and honestly, that is not a bad safety room at all. But we will get into that a little bit later, and we will talk about the safety room, the rest of the secondary, and even the rest of the defense in a different video. With all that being said, that is all I have for you guys on Kerby Joseph. Overall, I think this is an A+ pick. It was at the biggest position of need, the best player on the board, brings range, brings ball skills, completes the secondary with what they need. It was the perfect pick for the Detroit Lions at the time of this selection. So at that point, it gets my first A+ of the draft. He is somebody that I would have felt comfortable taking in the middle of the second round, somebody that I was advocating for at pick 66. They walk away with him at pick 97. Overall, I think it's great value for a great player at the biggest position of need. It gets my first A+ of the 2022 NFL draft for the Lions class. But with all that being said, that is all for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think about the player and the selection down in the comments below. I'd be very curious what you guys think. But with all of that being said, that is all for you guys today. Thank you all so very much for watching, and until next time, and as always, go Lions.